The New York Jets offseason has already been a banger, but how can we turn it into an unforgettable one? What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today I want to talk about the New York Jets and more specifically what we can do for the rest of this offseason. The draft is slowly approaching, and there are a couple of moves that I would like to see at least agreed upon before we get to the draft, so that when we get to that wonderful day in April, the New York Jets don't have a need on this team. And like what I mean by that is we don't have a need that is so great that a team can get in front of us and take our player like we saw last year. Everybody knew that we needed a tackle, and Broderick Jones was the guy that the New York Jets probably would have ended up wanting. And with all of that in place, the Pittsburgh Steelers decided to trade up and get in front of us to take our guy. And I don't want to be put in that position. If there's a guy that we like, I want to be an enigma. I want to be so aloof when it comes to the draft that no one, and I mean no one, is going to be able to predict what the Jets are going to do at 10, whether it's a trade up, whether it's a trade back. Doesn't matter, and that's the whole point. And I think that we can do that with 4.5 really easy signings that the New York Jets can do. I'm going to start with the one that doesn't really affect pick 10 at all, because we were never going to take a running back in the first round. Even though if you read the rumors from last year, maybe we would have. But I do think that we do have a need for running back too on this team. I love Israel Abanikanda and the speed that he provides and just his game. I was a big fan of him coming out of the draft, but he didn't get to see a ton of time last year. Now, with the new running scheme that we're going to be running and the new blocking scheme that we're going to be running for the New York Jets this upcoming year, I do expect a bigger workload for Israel Abanikanda because that'll highlight his skill set a little bit more. But that being said, I would love for the New York Jets to try and go out and find a more dedicated pass-catching running back. Breece Hall is really good with the ball in his hands and can be used in those wheel routes and those dump out routes and all of those things. And I really hope that this offseason he's put a premium on building his route running so that we can legitimately give him a route tree, because that's not something that he really did all that much at Iowa, and it's not something that we've really seen him do with the New York Jets in his rookie or in his second year last year. So I would love to see him add that to his game, but I would love to also get him some help. And a couple of names that come to mind are guys like Kareem Hunt and Donta Foreman, are guys who aren't going to cost you that much, maybe going to cost you $2 or $3 million to bring onto the team and would be more than adequate to be running back too. But a name that I would put on the list as a go and get, as well as one of, your Hunts, your Foremans, your McKinnons to be running back 2/3 with Izzy is, I would definitely take a flyer on a guy like J.K. Dobbins. Give him a 1-year league minimum deal, none of it guaranteed. He's coming off of 2 back-to-back knee injuries. He was rehabbing with Aaron Rodgers, so he's familiar with Aaron Rodgers at least a little bit. And again, if he turns out to be healthy and if he turns out that he can play the whole year, that's arguably one of the best running back rooms in the NFL. If you were to go out and get a guy like Donta Foreman, and now your running back room is Breece Hall, a fully healthy J.K. Dobbins, Donta Foreman, and Israel Abanikanda, that's one of the best running back rooms in the NFL. And to be fair, it's still one of the better running back rooms in the NFL just because we have Breece Hall, arguably a top 3 running back in the NFL by himself, with a guy like Donta Foreman and Izzy backing him up on the back end of it. So, again, I would love to see us address the running backs room in free agency. I'm not a big fan of this running back room in the draft, at all. There's not a single guy that I say, oh, I want that guy on the New York Jets. If we get one, cool, but I wouldn't use a pick until day 3 or undrafted because I don't really like any of these guys. Moving on to a signing that I think we all might expect happen, and that's Jadeveon Clowney, the defensive end formerly with the Baltimore Ravens. He went and had a 9.5 sack season last year. bet on himself, and again is coming into a position where he can take another one-year deal. And the New York Jets do have a need at edge. We did just lose Bryce Huff to the Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't feel all that comfortable with Michael Clemens playing edge, even though he has reinvented his body. And I do love our 1, 2, 3 and JFM, JJ, and Will McDonald's, but I want another name in there to play, 30%, 40% of the snaps, and that's where Jadeveon Clowney would fit in perfectly. He has a meeting with the Jets today. I would not let him leave the building if I was the New York Jets, because that really, really helps. And I think the big kicker here is that it might dissuade the Jets from possibly taking another first-round edge. This class is really, really good at the edge position, especially at 10. You might have your pick of the first one off the board. I don't want them to be tempted. Have 5 guys in the room so that they literally can't fit another one. Don't give them the opportunity. And I really like Jadeveon Clowney, especially for his run-stopping ability. Moving on, we did just sign Mike Williams yesterday, and that was an awesome signing, and I am a big fan of it. But Mike Williams is just coming off of a compounding knee injury with a torn ACL and MCL that he had surgery on and is recovering from. Will be ready for week 1. I'm not worried about any of that stuff, but the point of signing another wide receiver, and I would even say sign a wide receiver and draft a wide receiver, does not have really anything to do with Mike Williams and his injury, and everything to do with I don't ever want to see Allen Lazard on my football team on the field ever again, period. I want to push him down the depth chart as far as possible. And look, if he goes out into practices and he earns the spot and earns the reps, cool, but I am going to make him have to earn it. I'm not just talking about earning reps on the field. I'm talking about earning the ability to dress, period. You want to put your pads on Sunday? Okay, you got to show it week in, week out, day out at practice, and the best way to have him be forced to try that hard is to fill this wide receiver room with as much talent as possible. And there are a ton of wide receivers that are still available that you can get out that would give you wide receiver 4, possibly wide receiver 3 upside. Guys like Odell Beckham Jr., guys like DJ Chark, guys like, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting his name? From the Detroit Lions from last year. Tyler Boyd are all guys that could come in, have wide receiver 3 upside, easily could be wide receiver 4. Hunter Renfrow is another one of those guys. Again, just there's a bunch of guys that wouldn't cost you all that much. The rumored contract that Odell Beckham is in right now is $6 million, and I'm totally cool with giving Odell Beckham $6 million. I would even have a handshake, behind closed doors agreement saying, hey, give us a second. We need to restructure Quinnen Williams. We can't do that until a year after he signs his contract. That was closer to training camp than anything, so just give us a bit. Stay in shape. We'll sign you. You're coming to the New York Jets. You're going to catch balls from Aaron Rodgers, and just do it that way, but have something in place. I want to be able to go into the draft and take a wide receiver, have another one on the board, and just totally redefine the way that the room looks and the way that it plays. And then last but not least, one of the positions that I would be cool if we didn't address in free agency, but I see an opportunity here, and that is offensive tackle. And I know that a lot of people aren't as high on Max Mitchell and Carter Warren as some other people are, like myself. I think that those two guys quite possibly are the future of our offensive tackle room. Next year, we're looking at probably one of those guys being our starting left tackle and then one of those guys being our primary backup. At offensive tackle, still probably need to go find a right tackle. I'm not sure if Max Mitchell has truly garnered the ability for me to say that he should be in that role. Maybe this year. This is the first offseason that he's having where he's going to fully be healthy and not worrying about dying, so we'll see what happens with all of that. But Carter Warren is a guy that I totally feel comfortable with banking on being our left tackle of the future. I loved his upside I really liked what we saw from him last year when he didn't have an offseason. He was injured, and the first week that he was healthy, he was asked to play, and he played more than adequately enough to justify the opportunity to learn behind Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith to be the possible left tackle of the future. But I would love to bring in just another body. Tyron Smith does have that injury concern, and Morgan Moses did just reveal that he recently had pec surgery to repair a torn pec that he tore in week 4 of last year and then played all of this year on, which is absolutely insane. But I would love to have some more bodies. Like I said, I am comfortable with Max Mitchell and Carter Warren being our backups this year. And if they have to play, I'm comfortable with that. But let's just bring in more bodies. We know that Elijah Vera-Tucker can slide out if we need him to. But let's just put as many people before getting to that point. And if David Bakhtiari is willing to come on a cheap deal, I would see if that's an option. My guess is that he's still trying to find a starting job somewhere. And my expectation is that he might find one, but if he doesn't, and if he's cool with reuniting with Aaron Rodgers and being the primary tackle backup, so if anyone, Morgan Moses or Tyron Smith, knock on wood, goes down, he immediately comes in and plays for them, I'm cool with that, and I would make that move. So let me know in the comment section below, are there any moves that you think that the New York Jets should 100% be all in on? I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. And last but not least, go Jets.